Hello everybody, MorbTron here. Today is the Titan overview video, the last video of the Titan portion of the Average Guardian reviews or Average Guardian guides for the subclass trees for Titan. So, in this video we'll be doing an overview of the Titan's class in general, going over exotics that are good for any of the subclasses. And I'll be touching on anything that I might have missed in my other three videos that cover Sunbreaker, Striker, and Sentinel. If you or a friend of yours or someone you know is just starting the game, they don't really know much about the Titan class but are interested in it, you can link them this video. The other three videos linking the three subclass trees, or about the three subclass trees, will be linked in the description down below for easy access. But first things first, let's get into the exotics that can greatly help out any of the subclass trees. We'll start out with the Lion Rampants, as those are some exotic boots that you don't need any expansions for at all to get, and you can get a lot of mileage out of them as well. These increase your mobility, and they do so by making your jump better. Anything about your jump, whichever jump you feel like using, it'll make it better. Just flat out better, improves every aspect of them, gives you more speed, more height, more momentum, more everything, and also it provides you to hip fire your weapon in the air during your jump ability without losing your jump ability, and it also gives you more in-air accuracy while doing so, which is always fun. It's always nice to do that. So it allows you to do things like this and still hover around in the air, whereas without them, you just kind of fall to the ground. And there's nothing you can really do about it. Now, the jump abilities, or the jumps for the Titan, these do not change from subclass tree to subclass tree, so I'm covering these first. We have High Lift, which gives you a jump, which gives you a lot of height. So if you're going for, some sort of thing in the open world that's up really high, I just hit the zone ceiling, High Lift is what you're going to want to do. They don't give you a whole lot of forward momentum, but if you're looking to go up, this jump does just that. It will make you go up very well. The middle jump, as you can imagine, is gives you more directional control, is what it says. Jump while airborne to activate lift, and launch into the air with a strong directional control. So what this does for you is it allows you to kind of change the direction of your jump better. It allows you to kind of change your strafe, albeit a little bit slowly, but you can, and gives you a better control overall of your jump. So if you want to go up, you're not going to get as much up out of strafe lift as you would high lift, but it's still pretty decent. And if you want to, if you time it correctly, you can actually gain forward momentum by waiting a couple, I would say like a half a second before hitting the jump again, right as your Titan starts to hit the downward part of their arc from their jump. You get increased forward momentum that way, which is the way that Titan skating is going to happen once the Titan skating nerf actually comes into play, which is only applicable if you play on PC. Since Titan skating is getting nerfed, I'm not going to go into it here, but if you're interested to know what Titan skating is or was, depending on when you're watching this video, I made a video on that as well. You can search for it just by searching Titan skating on my channel. Now the other jump for Titan is called Catapult Lift, which gives you a strong initial burst of momentum, but that momentum is diagonal. So if you're standing perfectly still, it will let you go up. However, if you are moving forward at all, it's going to make you go in a diagonal way. Even if you wait until your Titan is in the downward portion of its jump, it will go up in a diagonal pattern. But you do get a lot of height out of this as well. So if you are looking for something that has, potential to save you in the Crucible, say if you accidentally jump off the map, Catapult Lift will get you back onto the map, whereas Strafe Lift, although it does give you increased control while in the air, does not let that happen. If you have Strafe Lift and you jump off the edge on a Titan, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to go all the way down to the bottom, and you're going to have to wait for Ghost Resurrection. Now, the Titan class ability is called Barricade. You have two different forms of that. You have Rally Barricade and Towering Barricade. They are the same for every subclass tree, so I will cover those now. But basically, you throw up your barricade. This is Rally Barricade. You can see there on the left-hand corner, bottom left, it's counting down. That's counting down how long this Rally Barricade is going to last. And what Rally Barricade does, if you see on the bottom left, it's automatically loading my hand cannon from reserves. And it'll do that with any weapon. I don't have very much heavy ammo, but it does it with every weapon. If you have ammo in reserves, it'll automatically load your weapon. Comes in handy quite often in PvE content, as most of the time you can just stand in one place and shoot at whatever you want to shoot at until you run out of ammo. So you throw up your Rally Barricade, and you can just shoot. Just shoot until you run out of ammo. Just shoot until your heart's content. And that's that. The Towering Barricade is a little bit different. Whereas the Rally Barricade is going to protect you from objects that hit the barricade. It's not very tall. The Towering Barricade, as you can guess by its name, is quite tall. So you can use it, mostly in Crucible, is where I use it, to block doorways or prevent enemy guardians from getting to you, or using a pathway, or making it more inconvenient or more of a pain for them to get to you. So, if an enemy guardian runs through your barricade, they will take a lot of damage, to the point where you can basically look at them sideways and they will fall over dead. So it's a very handy thing. However, it's important to use it strategically and not only when you're about to die, as most of the time, if you see a Titan run away or run around the corner and throw a barricade, it's because they're about to die, and it signifies that they're very weak to their enemy, so they push them. But if you use it strategically, say to make a pathway more annoying to use for your enemy in the Crucible, it can be of much greater use. Now, moving on to grenades. I'm going to cover and display the unique grenades for the Titan, but the other grenades that are shared from other classes, I'm just going to point that out. So the Thermite grenade for the Sunbreaker. Very, very unique grenade. There's not another grenade in the game like it. You throw it down, and a wave of fire comes out, and more waves of fire continue to go out. They do a lot of damage, and is usually what I use in PvE. In Crucible, they can catch people off guard if they're not counting how many waves of fire come out, or if they're just not paying attention. But it is rather easy to avoid, but it is very, very good area denial, even if they do avoid it. The other two grenades that the Sunbreakers have, we have Fusion Grenade, which is shared with a Warlock. It's a sticky grenade. It will stick to a target and explode in the Crucible. It does 150 damage. Then we have the Incendiary Grenade, if I could words. It is shared with the Hunter Golden Gun subclass, and it is the same grenade on either class. You throw it, it can bounce off corners, will not stick to people, detonates in a fairly decent sized radius in a one-time blast, and will burn anybody hit by it for a few damage, depending on where you're at. A good grenade to use in the Crucible as well, as you can bounce it around corners and burn people, and then you can see where the numbers are popping up through the wall and kind of track people and guess where they are located. Now, moving on to the Striker subclass. We have the Pulse Grenade, which is shared by the Warlock as well. It is the same Pulse Grenade. However, Striker does have some abilities or some perks, depending on what tree of striker you are, that can modify any of your grenades. So I just want to point that out. But a pulse grenade is a pulse grenade. You throw it on the ground, and hey, it pulses periodic damage inside of its explosion radius. You can extend its duration and its effect depending on what striker subclass you are, but we're not going to go into that now. If you want to know more about that, you can click on that video down in the description that goes over the strikers. And we have the lightning grenade, which is a unique grenade to the strikers. And the lightning grenade is a lot like the void cone grenade that hunters have, where you throw it, it sticks to a surface, and will shoot out a cone of energy. But unlike the void grenade, this is not a continuous bolt of energy. It kind of does pulses like the pulse grenade, but in a rather large cone. Can be tricky to use, as it is very avoidable, as it does that small activation notification, if you want to call it that. It's very obvious where the lightning grenade is going to hit. They are not nearly as deadly as they were in Destiny 1. In Destiny 1, if you got caught in the cone, it would one-shot you. Now, if you get caught in the initial cone, it will almost kill you, and if you get hit by the second one, you will die in the Crucible. However, it is very, very easy to avoid. Now, the flashbang grenade is another unique grenade for the strikers. It's an explosive grenade that disorients enemies. It damages. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage. It is more of a disorient grenade. It is called a flashbang. It will do some damage, but it is more so about blinding your opponents, disorienting them, and removing their radar in the Crucible. And since I can't display that on anybody or anything here, and if I go kill some little dregs with it, they will just outright die, I'm going to do some self-damage. So you can see there, that's what getting hit by it looks like. It blinds you, and even if you don't kill yourself, it does take away your radar, even if it doesn't blind you all the way like it did there. It can be very, very disorienting for your enemies in Crucible. And if you get a tag with a lightning grenade, it is time to push up and try to seal the deal. Moving on to Sentinel grenades. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Void Wall grenade, which is the same Void Wall grenade that you get on a Hunter. It gives a horizontal wall of burning void energy. So, like I said, same as the Hunters. You throw it, and as far as what direction the void wall actually goes in, almost seems to come down to a little bit of randomness. If you hit any sort of debris on the ground, it can change the direction of the grenade. There is a way to manipulate it if you're on perfectly level ground, but if it hits any sort of unevenness on the surface you throw the grenade on, it's up to RNG as far as what direction the grenade goes in, which can be unfortunate and make the grenade unpredictable to use, but it does a ton of damage, but doesn't last very long either. So keep that in mind. It can be tricky, but can come in clutch in certain situations. If you are a Titan veteran, you will know everything about the suppressor, or if you've played in Crucible during Mayhem weeks, you will know what being suppressed feels like. A suppressor grenade is a lot like an incendiary grenade from the Solar Titans or a Gunslinger Hunter, except it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but what it makes up for not doing much damage is it prevents enemies from using abilities for a short time. And what it means by a short time, in Crucible time, it feels like it's about 87 years. Now, when you get suppressed like this, you can't use abilities. I can't put up my barricade right now. So it doesn't one-shot. It does do a fair amount of damage if you stand on the thing, but its detonation radius is massive. And if you get caught in it, you're suppressed, no matter what. Even if you only take 2 damage from the grenade, you get suppressed for the full duration. It is a bit ridiculous, It's very, very powerful if you can hit somebody in their super with a grenade. Even if you end up suppressing yourself, if you suppress somebody on the enemy team in Crucible out of their super, it's fantastic. Now, the suppressor grenade doesn't really have a place in PvE, in my opinion. It can disorient your enemies, and it does prevent them from using abilities that they may have, but most PvE enemies don't have abilities, and if they do, they're probably a boss and immune to suppression anyway, so it's not really worth it. You're going to probably, if I can words again, probably going to be wanting to use Void Wall Grenade in a PvE scenario, just for its high damage potential. Now, a grenade that is not used for Sentinel very often is the Magnetic Grenade, a grenade that attaches to enemies and explodes twice. Now, it only will explode twice if it attaches itself to an enemy. If you just throw it, it's not going to detonate a second time. It used to, but now it no longer does. So we're going to go find an enemy, and I will show what that looks like. So if you attach it to an enemy, it will pulse damage once, and on the enemies I'm about to stick here, it'll probably outright kill them, but since it did stick something, it will detonate a second time. In the Crucible, that means they're going to get hit, and then they're going to get hit again. It's still not going to be an outright kill, as the damage is kind of spread out, but okay, we didn't stick anybody. But it's, oh, I think I'm code of the commander. So that kind of ruined that. So we didn't stick anybody. Let's get our grenade back again really quickly. And then we'll stick somebody. The grenade kind of bounced off that last dude. Alright, so you need to get stuck. Explosion. And they died. So that we didn't get a second explosion, which is what I was afraid was going to happen. This is why doing these sorts of things in a PvE environment is kind of difficult, but can't really do this in a Crucible environment either. You'll just have to trust me that it explodes a second time if it doesn't outright kill your target. Now, that is it for the grenades, and I realize I forgot to mention other exotic armor pieces. Go me. The Heart of Inmost Light. Very, very good universal exotic piece. That's how I was getting my grenades back so darn fast. It enhances all your abilities, and so makes them do more damage, and makes them come back quicker. Sounds really good. If you're interested in it, again, I've covered this exotic a couple times on my channel. You can search Heart of Inmost Light on my channel, and you will definitely find a video or two. Another good exotic that I'm going to mention is Mask of the Quiet One, which you do not need any of the DLCs to get. Bet you all thought I was going to talk about One-Eyed Mask. I'm going to get to that one next. This one grants ability energy when you take damage. So if you take any bit of damage whatsoever, you're going to get some ability energy out of it. So it is a very, very good passive exotic, especially when you're starting the game, and especially if you don't have any of the DLCs, because you don't need any DLCs at all to get your hands on this thing. And also, bonus, when critically wounded, so when you don't have a shield anymore, when your health bar is flashing red like, oh man, you're about to die, and you get a kill, you will regain maximum health on kills. So you will heal yourself. When it says maximum health, you don't full heal, but you do heal. And it comes in clutch in a lot of situations. Mostly PvE situations, but in the Crucible it can keep you out of the respawn screen. Now, the One-Eyed Mask I will mention, but it is getting nerfed, but we don't know how hard it is getting nerfed. Now, if you take any bit of damage in the Crucible, it will mark the person that damaged you for a few seconds. You'll be able to see them through walls. Now, when I say a few seconds, in Crucible time, again, that is 87 years. And if you kill the person that is marked by your, hey, I can see you through a wall because you tickled me once ability, you get an overshield and instantly heal. So basically, you go from whatever health you were at to 200% health. Very, very overpowered, very imbalanced. And oh, by the way, while you'll have that overshield on you from killing the person that you were able to see through the wall after they tickled you, you do extra damage on top of that. Incredibly overpowered exotic. It will be getting nerfed. I don't know how hard. Hopefully they just straight out delete this thing, because I'm sick of it. This is coming from a Titan main, by the way. But yeah, hopefully we see the end of One-Eyed Mask, but if not, it's one to keep your eye out on if you have the Forsaken expansion. Same goes for Heart of Inmost Light. Also, I did want to mention, during my Sunbreaker video, I did not mention the Worm God Caress for the middle tree Sunbreaker. So when you have the throwing hammers, if you get a kill, a melee kill, so at 1 stack of Burning Fists, this buff is called, at 1 stack of the melee buff, the throwing hammer will one-shot in the Crucible. And if you get another kill, and another kill, and another kill, it's just going to make it hurt even more. Now that can be powerful, and it does sound powerful, however you don't see it very often because the throwing hammer itself is pretty hard to hit with. There's 0 aim assist for using it, and it has a pretty weird kind of arc to it. It's very hard to get used to, but once mastered, it can actually be very potent. I've ran into someone using this strategy, this exotic loadout, maybe once or twice since this exotic was introduced back in Warmind. Excuse me, a little bit of a dry throat. And yeah, it is kind of cheesy, but at the same time, it's pretty difficult to pull off. You won't really see it that often, but it's something to play around with, maybe. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video. So like I had mentioned, the other 3 videos are going to be linked in the description of this video, if you want to check out the video on Sunbreaker, Sentinel, or Striker. But if this video helped you out, or you just want to show support on my channel, a positive rating or a like is greatly appreciated. If you are new here, you want to see more of my content, hit that subscribe button. But do not forget to have a good day, everybody, and I will catch you all next time.